20th of February, Rabbi Levitt, Pele Yoetz.
Okay, so the Pele Yoetz, we started off today on 321 with shiflus, humility. One of the words that's used for humility. The other word is anava. And here we're talking about shiflus, and he's quoted a Gemora in Sanhedrin 88b. And 4 lines from the above the wide lines, the Gemora starts off, Sholchu mitam, a question was sent from Eretz Yisrael. Perhaps the answer was sent from Eretz Yisrael. Or no, we see it's a question. Ezu ben olam haba. Who is the one who is a ben olam haba? Now, if you're wondering, what does this mean? Who's a ben olam haba? The Torah's Chaim asks over here. Af shekol Yisrael yesh lem chelik l'olam haba. K'nemar b'Mishnah lahalan, like it says in the Mishnah on the next page on Daf Sadi. It says Kol Yisrael yesh lem chelik l'olam haba. So what does it mean over here that it says who is the one who is a ben olam haba? As though to say there's some that are, some that not. So Torah's Chaim answers, Sham, over there, hakavona hi rak la'acher shehem nidonim b'chibut hakever u'ba'onsho shel gehinnom. They're talking over there that who's the ben olam haba after they go to the dry cleaners and they get cleaned up. Shamisa ba'onshim mechaprim aleihem. There's all sorts of things that clean a person up. Misa, onshim, hibod hakever, gehenim. Bakan over here in this mission says, "Who's a ben olam haba?" Shelas agamora, he mi who's shekvar b'chayav, who ben olam haba, who is regarded as a ben olam haba even in his lifetime. Okay. That sort of begs the question, what does it mean that he's a ben olam haba in this world? But okay, at least we got some interesting point that was made. Okay, so now who is it? Says the Gemora.
What part of the page is it? What part of is it near the middle or the end or what?
It's 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 narrow lines from where the wide lines begin.
All right then, but I haven't got that. Just a minute. 4 narrow lines from where the wide.
So somebody tell Roy where to find it on the art scroll page.
I don't have my art scroll for this one.
88 is what? What's 88 in Ivrit?
Peches. Pach.
Pei, Sadik, after Sadik.
Everybody knows that word. Your wife says, take out the pach. Mayor liked that one.
That's not force. It's the forward Sadik. Pach. Pei, tes. Pei, tes. Yes. Right. So it's all right. So it's about a third of what did you say? The wide lines.
It's 4 narrow lines up from the wide where the wide line begins.
All right. All right. So that's about.
The first word of the line is misham, the lishkas hagozis.
Yeah, I've got that. Okay. Thank you.
Now it says Sholchu bitam. They sent from over there, meaning in Eretz Yisrael. Ezu ben olam haba. Who is the one who's a ben olam haba? Anvason. Someone who is he's not a Baal Gaiva. V'shval berech. Val Berech. Berech is the knees. He's mashpil himself, like the knees, that the knees of the body. The knees of the body are considered to be examples of humility. You'll ask why? Good question. I suppose because they're the ones that bend and make a person lower. When you bend, you make yourself lower. That's a sign of humility. So the knees are the example of that on the body. Shayef Ayel, Shayef Benofak. He's a person who, like the good translation over here in your Pele Yoetz, he's ayel. He's shayef means he bends down, he bends over, lowers himself. Ayel, he comes into this world, he comes into this room, he comes into this place, not with a big like a big fanfare, unassuming, humility, shiftless, shayef the nofak, and also the way that he comes in, he also goes out from that place in the same way, with not with a fanfare, with bent down, bent over. So that's the Pele Yoetz is using this Gemora to say that you see that a nava is not just something which is in the heart or in the mind, although of course that's the main that surely is the main place where the anava is apparent. It's not but the Pele Yoetz is saying over here that it's also if it comes from the heart and the mind, it can be expressed in action as well, like you see from this Gemora. You see from this Gemora that it expresses the humility that he has deep inside himself, is expressed in the way that he moves around, the way that he goes in, the way that he goes out. And of course, Doris Bioraisa Tadira, he's always engaged in the study of Torah. And of course, that's a Ben Olam Haba. Below Machzik Tivusa Lenafshe. And he doesn't take any credit for himself. Like Rabbi Yochanan said in Avos, he says, Im lamadata Torah harbe, if you've learned a lot of Torah, person thinks he's learned a lot of Torah. So he thinks to himself, oh, well, that gives me the right to, pat myself on the back. Says Rabbi Yochanan, no. Why? Why not? That's what you were created to do. So that's that. In other words, that's what you're just doing what you were created to do. That's the way a humble person looks at the fact that he has learned a lot of Torah. That's what he was supposed to. That's what he's supposed to do. So he just did what he's supposed to do. Okay. All right. That's the Gemara over here. Now, actually, the Gemara, if you look at further, the Gemara continues. Lomaxi tivusa lenafshe, we said, doesn't take credit for himself. And then the next thing Gemara says is Yahabu be Rabbonon Einayhom. Oh, the Rabbanan. Interesting. In other words, when the in other words, what happened over here? There was, you can imagine the scene, right? The Rabbanan, they're there in Bavel, and they get this I don't know if you could, well, just say it in my language. They get a telegram, and the telegram says special delivery from Eretz Yisrael. We have an important message for you. And what's the important message? They read the message, and the message is just what we said. And then the Rabbanan are looking around, and the Gemora and Sanhedrin reports, Yahabu Bey Rabbanan Einayhom. The Rabbanan set their eyes after hearing this on who? Rav Ula bar Abba. Psh, wow. That's isn't that incredible? All the Rabbanan, they instinctively looked to Rav Ula bar Abba because they all knew that Rav Ula bar Abba, I'm trying to think of where I ever heard his name being quoted in the Gemora. I don't remember. But in any case, the Gemora reports that the Rabbanan looked and turned their eyes in the direction of Rav Ula bar Abba, because he was the one that was the manifestation of all of these midos, what it said in the telegram. Okay. So that's where we have the name of Rav Ula bar Abba, right here. See, that's interesting. Even though I don't, like I said, I don't remember ever seeing his name really, and certainly it's not quoted extensively. But nevertheless, he was the epitome of this. What the Gemara says.
Wow. Says he was the leading halachic Amora in the land of Israel in the late 3rd and early 4th centuries.
Oh, okay. Does it give a source?
Let's see. Let's see. In Jerusalem, Tzedakah references. Let's see. Bava Kama 11, Eruvin 21b, Ketuvot 74a.
Wow.
So Barachot 38b. The whole so I don't know if it's his teachings or about him. It's in Pesachim and Shabbos, Kedushin.
What, all of these Gemaras that they're quoting as a source for this?
It's a reference. I don't know. I'd have to read the whole article.
Okay.
But it's based on his life, I guess. All these. Says only in the presence of Rav Nachman did Ula hesitate to pronounce his opinions, generally waiting until Nachman had departed. So I guess he was a modest guy too, humble.
Okay, wow. Rav Ula bar Abba. Okay.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, good.
All right, so now we're going to start now. A round of applause, first of all, for page 321. A round of applause. Well done. Now we go to page 322, and we go to the first line over here. If a person, and we go to Alan to continue the reading for us.
Okay, 322, if a person,
Yeah.
where is that? What line?
It's the first line on the page.
320.
Oh, okay, okay, not the first words, good, okay, got it.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the paragraph.
Right, okay, if a person is someone who is respected in the eyes of others and he frequents the company of important men, he should not sit in the lowest of places, nor wear tattered garments, etc. As in every good thing, the best thing is to do it in private. So too, in regard to humility, whose primary fulfillment is in one's heart, that his spirit should be a broken one of his, in his heart a broken and contrite one, because he knows and recognizes his great lowliness, his small value, his minimal understanding, the greatness of his sins, and his profound deficiency in the service of Hashem, because he is a man. Display of excessive humility and meekness beyond a normal measure relative to a man's status and persona is called fake humility, and people will say about him that that this is actually arrogance, and he wants to show off to others his perfection of character, that he's perfect in everything. The only thing that he is lacking is humility. Behold, there is humility also. Consequently, this is not humbleness, but haughtiness. This is a fundamental rule in every good thing. Hashem desires the heart. The heart is primary, and according to the intent of the heart, things are judged. Speech and action are secondary. Every clever person must act with intelligence to conceal his personal matters and balance his affairs with justice in such a way that he finds favor and good intelligence in the eyes of Hashem and men.
Okay. Okay, so the main idea that seems to be coming from the Pele Yoetz is that a person should realize that since he's human, so he's not perfect, and that is should give him this feeling of humility, and but then he makes a point and says that even though humility is mainly in the heart, its primary fulfillment is in the heart, based upon his recognition that he is simply human, and he's fallible, and he has made mistakes, and he isn't perfect, but nevertheless, he says to act with excessive humility, and of course that'll be a question of what is called excessive humility, but there is such a thing as excessive humility. He says that's not proper. It's not real. It's not real. Why is it not real? First of all, how do you know that it's fake? I guess, I mean, it involves a value, it involves a judgment of the person, and saying, oh, you're not really as humble as the way that you are acting. So it involves judging the person. but I guess whatever. That's what I would say. But that's what he says. It's a judgment. It's because we say that it's excessive in the sense that it's beyond the normal measure relative to a person's status and his persona. I don't know what that means. Persona, status. I don't know what that means. In other words, he has a certain reputation that people know about him. He's known to be whatever. He's known to be he's known to be a person that does that learns Torah, does mitzvahs. He's not known that he is that he's the greatest scholar and tzaddik of the generation. It's known about him that as well. But if he's going to conduct himself with I guess humility, which would be I don't know, too excessive. In other words, that type of humility should only be someone who is known to be a great righteous person, I guess. And to show that amount of humility, it seems a bit out of place. It seems a bit it's not real. Maybe people will be able to I think maybe if we think about it, then we could understand what he's saying over here. So that's not real humility, and he says it's actually arrogance. It's the opposite of humility. Why? Because what he's trying to do is he's trying to get people to acknowledge that he's a great anav, and that he's a greatly humble person, and that he's so that's not really humility. Okay, interesting words that he says over here. He wants to show off to others his perfection of character, that he is perfect in everything. The only thing that is lacking is humility. Behold, there is humility also. Consequently, this is not humbleness, but haughtiness. Okay. All right. And of course, the true judge of this is the person himself, because the person knows why it is that he's doing these actions which bespeak a midah of humility. He knows if he's doing it because he really is humble, or it's because he's trying to get other people to think that he's humble. So if he's trying to get other people to think that he's humble, he knows that he's not being humble. That's not humility. Okay,
That's true.
You know that story that they say that there was in Vilna. It's not a true story. It's a made up story. Probably in some book somewhere. But anyway, it's an entertaining story. And it has a point to it, and I think the point is the point that we're talking about over here. So there was a mikveh, and Erev Shabbos, everybody is trying to get to go to the mikveh, and before Shabbos, and there's a long line, and everybody's waiting in the line, and then there's this man that comes, I guess he's a little bit older, because the part, you have to be, in order to be humble, you have to be old. That's one of the things to be humble. and he's old, and he's like hobbling on, like this, bent over, like the Gemora in Sanhedrin says that the person is he's bent over, so he's acting like a great anav, and in the meantime he's taking butts in the line over here, because everybody it gives him respect because he's known as the anav of Vilna. And there's one person, I guess he's from out of town. Maybe he came from Los Angeles, and he's waiting in line for the mikveh also. And he sees the anav of Vilna hobbling by, with great humility, bent over, and he says, "Hey, sir, excuse me, I'm ahead of you." And the anav of Vilna looks at this guy from Los Angeles, and he says, "How dare you? Don't you know that I'm the anav of Vilna?" So
Oy.
that's the
I have a story. The young man went out on a shidduch and came back, and the parents, they were very excited. They thought this was a really good match, and they said, "How did it go?" And he said, "She's not good enough for me." And they said to each other later, he's got a problem with humility. He thinks too highly of himself. She's perfect for him. So they go and talk with his teachers, and they decided to send him to a yeshiva that specializes in humility. And so he goes to this yeshiva, and he has trouble at first. They get reports, I'm not sure he's going to fit in, and we're having trouble. But then the reports get better, and the year goes by, and finally at the end of the year, he gets a good report. He's doing very well. He's really internalizing the lessons here. He comes back home, and the parents say, "Okay, let's try this shidduch again now that he's had this year." So they say, "We got a shidduch for you." He says, "Okay." They don't tell him who it is. So he goes out, he meets with her, and he spends the evening on a date. He comes back, and they say, "How did it go? What do you think?" And he says, "She wasn't good enough for me last year, and that was before I became humble."
Right. No hope.
Okay,
No hope.
very good. Okay, so now we can do a round of applause for humility and shiftless. Hooray!
I think that I'm not sure that he said this or not. I don't think he did. I think that an aspect of humility is accuracy, truthfulness. That if a person wants to be humble, and therefore he says something that's false, he denies that he knows something, which is not true. He does know it.
Right?
That's a problem. That's not humility. That's false humility, in my opinion.
Oh, so now we have to look at the Gemora in Bava Metzia. I have to remember where it is. This is the Gemora that talks about different things. I think 3 things that it says that a person is allowed to say something which is not really correct, not really true.
Yeah.
Where the Gemora is. The Gemora is. I'm going to have to find it before I think it's. I think it's in the 20s, late 20s or early 30s. I think he quoted it, but there wasn't a citation in Sheker. He quoted this Gemora. He said, for peace, you could alter your speech, but the editor did not give the citation. That's one of the three. Actually, I don't know if it's mentioned over there either. Okay, but in any case, he doesn't mention the Gemara. I don't see any citation over here. So we're on our own. Okay. Let me just take a couple minutes and see if I could find it.
Okay.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, this is Bava Metzia, Chaf Gimel Amud Beis, 23b.
Which,
See ya.
Bava Metzia, 23b.
all right.
Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, this is in Elu Metzias. Elu Metzias. And
Okay.
Away.
We're on the page, are we?
yeah, I'm looking for the page right now. I see the bottom three Tosasim discuss the three cases. And one of them is Masechta. So let me see.
Oh, I
here.
found it.
Got it?
It's the last line on the page.
Oh, there we
Amar
are.
Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. There we are. Okay. So it says, right. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Bahani Tlas Mili Avide Rabbonan de Mishanu b'Milayu. In these three matters, Avde Rabbonan, in other words, the Bnei Yeshiva, those that learn Torah day and night, they were accustomed to switch a little bit from the absolute truth of their words in the following three situations. And the three are the Masechta, Uba Puria, Uba Ushpiza on the other page, beginning of the other page. So the first one is the one that I want to focus on right here. The Masechta. Says Rashi, the Masechta. Somebody asks him, Yesh biyodcha Masechta Ploni, Sedura Begirsa or Lav? Some guy walks up to one of these Rabbanan, and he says, "Hey, do you know Masechtas Bava Metzia? Is it Sedura? Is it fluent in your mouth? Do you really know it, or you don't really know it?" Afogav shesedura he lo, even though this Talmid Chacham over here, this Ben Torah, he knows Bava Metzia. Baruch Hashem, he knows it very well. Nevertheless, Yomer lo lav. He should say to him, or he could say to him, to me, Rashi's language is Yomerlo. He should say to him, "Love, no, don't know it." Umidas anavahi. This is a midah of anava, says Rashi. Now Tosfos over here, I see he quotes Rashi. The Tosfos. Oh no, actually Tosfos didn't quote Rashi. But let's see what Tosfos says over here. But Masechta, Tosfos says, "Ve'im toimar." If you'll ask a question, V'amar v'shinantam, it says, "V'shinantam," and you shall teach you should teach the Torah very sharply to your sons, to your talmidim. Shiyu divrei Torah mechudadim beficha, that the Torah should be very, very clear, very, very sharp in your mouth. She'im yishalcha adam, if somebody asks you a question, al tegamgem v'toimer loy. Don't say, let me. I think the halach is like this. Ella amar lo miyad. Tell him this is the halacha. Yeah. So if so, says Tosfos is asking a question. Is that midas anava? To just answer so quickly as though you know everything? Doesn't sound like it based upon what the Gemora is saying over here. Says Tosfos, v'yesh loymar dahainu dafka ba'adam habali shol din o hara o lehislame. If somebody is coming to ask a question, he wants to know, what does this Gemara say? He's got a problem. Could you help him? He wants to know what's the halacha in a certain case. He needs to know the halacha. It's a shaila, lamaisa. It's nogea lamaisa. He needs to know with this chicken, is he allowed to eat this chicken or not, etc., etc. In that case like that, says Tosfos, that is when that Gemara over there is talking that you should tell him straight away with authority, and really that your learning of Torah, your understanding of Torah should get to that level that you're able to do such a thing. And if you and you should do such a thing, you should tell the person what the halacha is, not to say, ask somebody else, I don't know. But over here, the Gemora in Bava Metzia is telling the person, the person to say, oh no, I don't know that Masechta, right? What was that person asking? Was he asking, could you help me with this Tosfos over here? Could you help me with this Gemora over? He wasn't asking that. He was saying, hey, let me ask you a question. Do you really know Bava Metzia backwards and forwards?
Are you an expert?
He's coming to to test him, so to speak. And in that case, there's no mitzvah to show off and show him how much that you know. On the contrary, says Tosfos, mutter, says Tosfos, mutter l'shanos. So Tosfos didn't say that it's a mitzvah. Tosfos says it's mutter. It's mutter l'shanos, to alter the truth. I did not learn that. Even though you did learn it, the person learned it and he knows it cold. It's mutter to say, no, I didn't learn that. Okay.
So does that only apply to this particular example? Knowledge of a tractate, knowledge of Gemora, I guess? Or does it apply to everything? In other words, what about mathematics? Let's say a person he knows algebra, trigonometry, geometry, calculus, advanced calculus, and somebody says, do you know anything about math? So should he say, no, not much? Or should he say, yeah, actually, I know all the way up to advanced calculus?
Why would it be any different in that case?
Well, I'm just wondering why they say they give three particular cases. I mean, the bed is for modesty. It says in my footnote, it's nobody's business, whether you what you do in bed, and the hospitality is to protect the host. That
right.
You don't want to say he's a great host and then he gets deluged. So
right.
There's particular reasons, but the footnote on the one for Gemora, it doesn't say anything like that. It just says what you quoted from Rashi and Tosfos. So I'm wondering if there's something specific about that example, or if that example is supposed to be covering everything else.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's see if there's uh
Okay.
oh, is it time?
Yep.
Saved by the bell.
All right. Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Okay, have a good day, everyone.
Very good. Bye, Mayor.
Okay, be well.
Rachvat Slocha, Shkoyach.
See you,
See
Mayor.
everybody soon.
Okay, be well.
See
Take
you,
care.
Mayor.
Okay, bye, Lou. Bye.
It's the 20th of February, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
So, Lou,
It says FB. So I figured I would push that, and sure enough, the picture came back.
and I should have a white dot on top also, yes?
Hooray! You figured that out. That's great, Rabbi.
Is
So,
there a white dot on top too, that the camera's on?
Yeah, there was always a white dot. I couldn't. That led me to believe that there's not really anything wrong with my computer.
Well, when I click my video off, the white dot goes off.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, that's right. And when you turn it on, it goes on. So
Yeah.
the dot was on, but they had this picture of the camera with the slash across it. So
That's weird.
but it's a button on top on the top row of the keyboard. So it just must have pushed it by mistake or put a safer there or whatever it was, and all I had to do was push it again and reveal the camera. Shows
Very
the
nice.
picture.
I don't have such a button on mine.
Oh no.
I have buttons for the speaker to turn off the speaker, but I don't have a button for the camera.
Oh.
How about the very top of the computer?
Oh.
Where the white dot is.
Oh, you see it, Alan?
Yeah, there's a little white dot right above. Right in the
Yeah, we're
middle.
talking about the controls. That's just telling you whether it's on or not.
Right, okay.
But on the bottom of your screen, you should have a picture of a video camera.
Mhm.
And with the rabbi saying in addition to that, he has something on his keyboard, which I don't have on my keyboard.
Neither do I.
I don't have it on my keyboard either. But then again, my computer's older, maybe new computer. Depends what year you get it, I guess.
Okay.
Mine's a very old keyboard.
Mine is new.
Hmm,
I just bought this about a year ago.
that's old.
I guess you could say this is old.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
Yep.
Okay. So, so yesterday we got up to Amalei Tadura. Amalei Tadura. This is want to know where Tadura is. Because we were talking about the Kichesh Bo.
5B2, left-hand column, and it's first full paragraph.
Oh, we're up to 105B already. Wow.
105B2.
Wow. I see it.
Yeah, everybody got the place? Okay, so Alan,
Right. Rabbi
please
reply-
start.
Rabbi replies. Rabbi reply. On Malay, he said to Rabbi Amram, to do war, scatterbrain. Ki Tanayor Chayi. When was that Brisa taught? The Komar, what lay, Hayloch. It is in reference to a case where the defendant, upon admitting to owing the principal, immediately returns it to the claimant and says to him, "Here, it is yours." Minor, but when I say that he is liable to the Ashen for his false oath, but when did I say he was liable to his false oath? The Gemora is regarding a case where the animal is standing in a swamp and not being returned at this time.
Okay, so yeah, I see that this is an answer based upon what we said yesterday. We said yesterday that what Rava held was a question that was not resolvable. Or he didn't know the answer to the question. Al Kopanim. But the Gemara says Rabbah knew the answer to this question. Shita Leila Rabbah. In other words, about the din of when is it that one is chayav a korban for swearing falsely? Is one chayav a korban for swearing falsely, even in regard to a lie which actually only actually caused him to be exempt from a monetary obligation, or is it enough that it at the time it could have caused him to be exempt from a monetary obligation had the facts of the case been different. And so Rav Amram, yeah, see, we really have to read over this Rav Amram to really understand what it is that he's saying over here. It's we have to back up, really. We have to back up in order to understand this answer that the Rabbi is giving to Rav Amram. And then it might not be so simple, but we'll try. Okay, so let's back up a little bit up to where it says Yosef Rabba or Rabba Uka Amar Lahash Maisa. Now that's that should be about 4 lines up from where you on my page of where you just read from. We read it yesterday.
That's what Rabbi was sitting and relating this teaching.
Right. In other words,
It's
right.
on 105B1, the last paragraph on the right-hand side.
Okay, so Rabbi was relating this teaching. What's this teaching? This shmaisa? What was the shmaisa? About the Goslin that swore falsely, and in that case he was chayiv according to Rabbah, because even though the animal is in the backyard and there wasn't any loss to the animal, didn't die, wasn't stolen, didn't get a permanently disabling accident. Nevertheless, the fact that he swore and said he wasn't a Goslin, but that he was a shomer or he was a shoel, and in that case, he would have been exempt had the animal been stolen or lost. So there was a potential for being exempt from a monetary obligation, which never really came to fruition because the animal didn't get stolen or lost or disabled. But nevertheless, since he swore falsely, and it could have happened like that, Rabbah holds that the Goslin would be chayav to bring a korban on a false oath. Whereas Rava, what we said before, Rava was saying that was a case that he didn't know what the answer to that question would have been. So now in that, that's what Rabbah is talking about. And Rav Amram comes along and he says to Rabbah, he says, but the pasuk, there's a pasuk that says v'kichesh bo. V'nishbal sheker. It's pasuk in Vayikra. We didn't look it up yesterday. We could look it up today if you want. But from that pasuk, from that, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll learn it properly, and we'll properly understand what this drasha is over here. Yeah, maybe let's do that. So take out if you have a Vayikra. Vayikra chapter 5, verse 22.
It's 25.
It's in the Torah or on the side. On the side of the page, it's there in the Torah or.
Yeah.
Look on the left side. It's right there. Omotza Avda, Aveda.
Omotza Aveda, or Kichesh bo v'nishba al sheker ha'achas mikol asher yaseh ha'adam lachto b'heina. Okay. It's interesting. It's a pasuk by itself, but it's really a half of a statement. You need to look at the pasuk before in order to know what it's referring to.
Take a 25 what?
No, chapter 5.
Oh, chapter 5.
And take a look at pasuk chaf 21. Take a look at pasuk 21, verse 21.
Right. If a person will sin and commit a treachery against Hashem by lying to his comrade regarding a pleasure alone or a robbery, or by defrauding his comrade. And 22, or if he found a lost item and denied it, and he swore falsely.
Okay, so this the kichesh bo, they're translating as he denied the claim of the plaintiff that he wrongfully took this animal from him. So okay. Now Rav Amram is saying it says kichesh bo, and then after that it says v'nishba al sheker, and he swears to that falsehood that he denied the claim again of the plaintiff. And Rav Amram says from that pasuk it's mashma prat lemode beikr. Oh, okay. So maybe there's a Rashi on this. We'll take a look at. See, this is what does it mean? Prat lemode beikr. Kichesh bo. He, as though to say, he denied the whole thing. He denied the whole thing. The plaintiff said, "You guzzled my animal," and he said, "I didn't guzzle your animal." And he said, "Well, if so, then what's it doing in your backyard?" That's really our case that we spoke about over here. And what does the guy say to that? He said, "Well, you gave it to me to watch. You gave it to me to watch, which is a lie. The guy was a Goslin. But in this case, where he says you gave it to me to watch, what's he saying really? Now it does not amount to a total kfira in the ikr claim of the plaintiff. Why? Because what the plaintiff is saying is, you got something that belongs to me. Give it back. And the guy is embarrassed to say that he's a Goslin. He doesn't want to admit that he's a Goslin. So he says, "Oh, you lent it to me. You lent it to me, and I was watching it for you." So with that, he's basically saying to the guy, "You're right. It does not belong to me. It belongs to you." And so that's what's called that he was not moda be'ikar. I'm sorry. I crossed that out. That's called that he was yes moda be'ikar. He was, in other words, he admitted to the main thrust of the claim of the plaintiff. The plaintiff's main thrust was, you have something by you that belongs to me. How did it get to you? Oh, you were a Goslin, you were a Shoel, you were a Shomer, whatever it is. But when the guy says you wanted me to watch it for you, he's basically moda beikr. He's moda to the he's admitting to the main thrust of the claim of the plaintiff. And so that is what Rav Amram is saying, that you see from this pasuk, and we don't really see it. We're going to take a look at Rashi and maybe look at the pasuk and try to see if we could figure it out for ourselves. But just before we do that, what we're looking for is that Rav Amram is saying, you see from these words, v'kichesh bo, prat lemoda beikr. That is to say as follows, that when is it that we say that this person swears falsely and he's going to bring a korban? It's when he is kichesh bo, meaning he denies it. He denies, meaning he denies the main claim. The main claim, to deny the main claim would have been, I didn't guzzle this from you. This doesn't belong to you. Well, I never saw you in my life. That would amount to a kichesh bo, like it says in the pasuk. And so Rav Amram is saying, if the guy is going to come back and say, you gave it to me. You gave it to me as a to be a custodian over it. That's called being moda beikr, and therefore it's not called that he was kichesh bo, and therefore he will be exempt. He'll be exempt from bringing the korban. Exempt from bringing the korban. Okay. No, so now let's see if we have any Rashi that is going to. Do we have any Rashi at this point, or we should go further? I don't see that we have any Rashi at this point. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. I see the Gemora is going to say Ketzad, and Ketzad means that the Gemora wants to know how is this working out over here. So Gemora is going to explain for us a little bit. Let's read from Ketzad.
Where's that?
Where is Ketzad? Ketzad is the third word from the end of the third wide line.
Uh-huh.
See where that is, everybody?
It's back on
No.
105. I'm back on 105B1, 3 lines from the end.
Okay, Roy, you have the place?
Yes, Ketzad. How so? Right?
Yeah.
Ketzad, how so? You want me to read it?
Yeah, read please.
So, Shuri, Ganavta. If one says to his fellow, "You stole my ox," the who Omer la Ganavasi, and he replies, "I did not steal it." Ma Tivo Atzlocha, and the plaintiff retorts, "If so, what's it doing by you?" And the defendant replies, "You sold it to me. Ata Nasata Li Bimatana, or you gave it to me as a gift." Avicha mechara li, or your father sold it to me. Avacha nesona li b'matona, or your father gave it to me as a gift. Acha barasi ruts, or it chased my cow into my domain. Ma'alor Itzli, or it came to me on its own. Ta'eh B'dorech Mitzvah, or I found it wandering on the road and brought it into my house. Shema Hanan Aini Olav, or I'm an unpaid custodian over it. Shomer Shocha Ani Olav, or I'm a paid custodian over it. Shoel Ani Anov, or I'm a borrower over it. And he swears falsely, then he confesses that he actually stole it. Yibol Yoha Chayv. It might have been thought that he's liable to an Asham offering. Talmud Lomar V'chichesh Bo, to teach otherwise, the Torah states, and he denied it. Porat the Moradeh this excludes one who admits to the basic obligation. The Brisa states explicitly that a thief who swears falsely that he was a custodian is excluded from bringing the Asher offering. That's so. And
Okay, yeah,
then Rabbi gives a reply.
yeah. Okay. Good. Anybody have a question on this so far? What we said? You should have a question. Look at all these cases that he's saying over here, Rav Amram. Are all these cases equal cases of bin moda be'ikr?
No.
Right? Which ones are you bothered by?
The ones where a person, which is verifiable, the person gave him the cow, like his father or he himself, or
Right. Right. In those cases, is he moda be'ikr?
especially.
He's not moda be'ikr. Right? The ikr is that he's moda, that this animal belongs to the one who's claiming that he owns it. And if he's gonna say, "Oh, your father sold it to me," that's not being moda be'ikr. That's called kichishbo. And yet this whatever this is over here, Brisa or Mishnah, is lumping all of these cases together, even with the case where the defendant makes a claim and he says, "Oh, shomer chinam ani alav." Oh, you, I'm an unpaid custodian on this animal. You're right; it does belong to you, but I'm not a goslin. You gave it to me to watch. Okay, so that's not regarded as a denial of the claim in the main. It's regarded as moda be'ikr, that really he is admitting to the main thrust of the claim, which is that the animal belongs to the claimant. So if somebody was bothered by this, that's a very good thing to be bothered by. I just want to point it out that not all these cases are equal, and in fact, we're going to see later on in the Gemora that the Gemora is going to ask about some of these cases, that this doesn't sound like a case where he's moda be'ikr. Like the first few cases that are being mentioned over here don't sound like they're a case of moda be'ikr, and the Gemora is going to try to explain, be hard pressed to explain, but it's going to try to attempt to explain why it's called a case of moda be'ikr. Okay, so at this point, I think we understand what the Gemora is saying over here. It's just that it's not so clear of why it is that from these words kicheshba that Rav Amram is saying that what that means is that somebody who's moda be'ikr will not be chayav the korban asham. It's not so clear what is he learning from these words kicheshba. Is there a note over there that explains a little bit about this word, about this phrase in the pasuk kicheshba? I don't see Rashi saying anything about it. If we don't have a note, we'll have to take a look in the pasuk itself, see if we could figure it out for ourselves. Maybe Rashi explains it on the pasuk. It seems that the word kichesh means a total denial. Kichesh. He's in denial. Kicheshba. He denies the claim totally of the claimant. That seems to be what the Gemara is saying on these words, and therefore Rav Amram is saying that Well, if he wasn't in total denial, if he's basically moda beikr, that the animal belongs to the claimant, even though he's not admitting that he guzzled it from him, that's already it's already not a kichesh ba. And you see from the pasuk that the kichesh ba is what is going to only like that, says Rav Amram, is he going to be chayav a korban asham. That's his claim to Rabbah. So in other words, Rabbah, who said that he will be chayav in that case, where he says that he was a he doesn't admit that he was a goslin, but he says, oh, he was an unpaid custodian or paid custodian, or he borrowed it. In those cases, Rabbah says that he will be chayav a korban asham, because that amounts to a kfiras mammon, even in the case where the animal wasn't lost or stolen or disabled, because in the event it was lost or stolen or disabled, that claim of being a shomer or a shoel would have exempted him. Whereas if he would have admitted that he was a goslin, so then he would have been chayav, strict liability for anything that happens to the animal. He has to give back. Okay, so that's basically the question over here that Rav Amram is directing at Rabbah. And if you take a look at this Rashi over here, Ata Machraso. See that Rashi? Let's read that Rashi.
Which Rashi?
This is it's right across from where the narrow lines end. Ata machraso macharto.
Ata macharto. You sold. That's the one you want?
Yeah, you sold it to me. The guy says, you're a goslin. He says, you sold it to me.
Okay, look, come on, Parik. Later on, it's going to ask, my moda, the igrecha. How is there an admittance, a general admittance that there is?
Right. Is there he's asking, is there a receipt?
It's not a question of can he prove that he bought it, but the claim itself, just the claim itself, is it a claim which we would categorize as a moda be'ikr claim that Rav Amram is putting into this list of cases of things that he says, which we would regard all these cases as being cases that he's moda be'ikr. So Rashi says, this is the question that Rashi says, if you're bothered by this question, you're in good company, because later on, the Gemora is going to ask this question. What's the question? My moda be'ikr ikka. Where is the moda be'ikr in this case? Is there a moda be'ikr in a case like this, where he says, you sold it to me? He's not claiming that, he's not admitting that the animal belongs to the claimant. He's saying, I bought it from you, and it belongs to me. It does not belong to you. So on the face of it, this is not a case of moda be'ikr. And that's going to be the Gemara's question later on. So Rashi's alerting us that Rashi sometimes does that. don't worry. The Gemora is going to ask this question soon. You have a good question. Okay. Toa b'derek matzasi. Next Rashi.
The next Rashi though is Toa b'derech matzati. What's Toa? Toa? That I found something?
It was lost.
I found it wandering the streets. I found it on the way. The Heviato Levitt, and I brought it into the house. It was brought into the house.
Right. So is this case a case of Moda Be'ikr?
Yes.
Correct. Right? He's not saying that it belongs to him. He's just explaining how it is that it's in his backyard, even though it does not belong to him. Okay. Okay. So, okay. The next, Lou, you want to read the next Rashi? Tadura.
Okay. Kedura, let's see. Kedura, Ain Lave.
Yeah. Right.
It's not in his heart.
So Rabbah is saying to Rav Amram, Tadura, you are one who has no heart.
Oh.
He's giving him a bit of a shtuch over here. You have, in other words, you have not asked a good question on me. Why has he not asked a good question on him? Sounds like a good question to me. But Rabbah says, oh, did we read the response of Rabbah yet? We didn't. Rabbah said, Kisanya hahi dika amrle halech. This Bryson that you are quoting against me is in the case where the Goslin said halech. Okay, so then now we have to understand what's this halech over here. What's the concept of halech?
Oh, I have a footnote on Tadura.
Yeah.
It says that the reason that Rabbah responded so harshly is because he's his teacher.
Oh.
See the Sefer Chavetz Chaim that explains a teacher's license to rebuke his students in this manner.
Okay. All right. So he's saying to him, yeah. He's saying you didn't remember when I explained this Bryce 5 years ago, and I told you that this Bryce is a case of halech. So had you remembered that, maybe you weren't there for that shear, but had you found out about that and known about that, you never would have asked this question. Okay, so what is halech?
Veleka, the Memar, Elu mi Ganav, Jaha, Kamai, Koi, Shakil Le. So it's not to say that these are stolen. that this what's Kamai?
Kamei Koi. Before him, it's standing.
Oh. And he could take it.
Chocolate.
So in other words, the thief says, it's yours, take it. So he's admitting.
Right. Oh, in other words, what Rabbah is saying back to Rav Amram is that he's saying that in this case, because of the Brisa over here is a case of Halech. So therefore, it's not possible that the animal was stolen, and so in this case, he should be exempt. This case is not called a case of kfiras mammon at all. But not for the reason that Rav Amram was claiming.
Okay.
Okay.
Out of time.
We'll continue. Bez Hashem.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Be well.
Okay. All the best, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you. Bye for
Bye,
now.
Roy. Bye, Alan. Bye, Lou.
Bye, Rabbi. Take care.